Good morning, everyone. So we're just going to wait for people to join, and then we can start. Okay, maybe wait one more minute or less, and then start. Yes, so I'm going to announce the test date. I'm already planning to announce it today, but I want to wait until more people are here before I announce it today. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so again, I'm going to announce the test in a little bit because students arrived late, and I want to make sure that everyone, as many people as possible, hear the announcement. Okay, so the homework is due Monday, right? Because I signed it on last class, so it's due Monday. Okay, so last class. Okay, so last class, we ended class with a discussion on the multinomial coefficient, right? And so it was a way of counting the number of ways to select elements from each of K groups, right? Okay, and then and we did examples using it. Okay, so this class, we are going to start by talking about tree diagrams, which is a separate topic. And then after that, we're going to talk about conditional probability. Okay, and then after that, we're going to talk about Bayes and other theorems on conditional probability. Okay. So I went over homework 1 right at the start of class, and I asked anyone if they had questions. So that's right. So that's how I'm answering your questions. So you ask your questions during class, and then I go over it. Okay. Okay. So okay, and then also after that, if there's time, we're going to talk about the definition of independence. Okay, so let's get started. So let's get started with tree diagrams. Okay, so tree diagrams is on, so tree diagrams is 2.5. And so let's start with example 2.14. Okay, so Alice and Mary are engaged in a chess tournament. Okay, the first person to win either 2 games in a row or a total of 3 games will be declared the winner. The tree diagram below gives the possible people are still joining. Below gives the possible outcomes of the tournament. And by below, I mean the tree diagram on the whiteboard gives the possible outcomes of the tournament. So I'm going to draw for you the tree diagram. Okay. So Alice and Mary are engaged in a chess tournament. The first person to win either 2 games in a row or a total of 3 games will be declared the winner. And so we want to express the outcomes of this tournament using what's called a tree diagram. So let's start with it. And so I'm going to just use, just for fun, I'm going to use the color purple. Okay, so we start here. Let's just go with that. And then it branches off in 2 directions. So A is going to represent Alice winning, and M is going to represent Mary winning. So the 2 possibilities in the chess tournament is that the first game is won by Alice, and also the other possibility is the first game is won by Mary. So then they play another game, and so Alice could win the second game, or Mary could win the second game. And in here, Mary could win the second game, right? Or Alice. Okay. Well, here Alice has won 2 in a row. Right, so the tournament ends here. This is the end of the branch of this tree diagram. Okay, but here, neither of them have won 2 in a row, and neither have won 3, and so there's going to be a third game here. And so again, the 2 possibilities are that Alice wins or Mary wins. So here there's 2 in a row where Mary wins. And so the tree ends on that branch. But in this branch, neither of them have won twice, and neither of them have won a total of 3. And so we continue here also. And so we have Alice and Mary as winners, possible winners here. Okay, now if we go back to the top, they've each won twice. But here now, Mary has won 2 in a row. And so the tree ends there. But the tree has not yet ended here. And so we keep going. And so Alice or Mary wins this next game. Okay. And then here, Alice has won 2 in a row on this branch. So the tree ends on that branch. But in this branch, neither have won 3, and neither of them have won 2 in a row ever. So we keep going. And so the 2 possibilities again are that Alice wins or Mary wins. Okay, let's go back to the top here. Here the tree ends because Alice has won 2 in a row. Here, the tree has not ended because neither of them have won 2 in a row, and neither of them have won 3. Down here, Mary has won twice in a row now. And so the tree ends here. But here, again, neither of them have won 2 in a row, nor neither of them won 3, at least 3. And so then the branch continues here for Alice or Mary. And then the tree also continues here. And again, the 2 possibilities are Alice wins or Mary wins. Okay, so now let's see what happens. So here, Alice has won a total of 3 times. So the tree ends. Here, Mary has won a total of 3 times. So the tree ends. Here, Alice has won a total, well, actually, so 2, they happen at the same time. Alice has won 3, and Alice has won 2 in a row right at this instant, and not earlier. And then here, Mary has won 3. And so that branch ends there. So all the branches have now ended. And so this is the entire tree diagram representing all the outcomes of this tournament. Okay? And so this is the tree diagram I'm referring to in that example. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is an example of a tree diagram. Okay, there we go. Right, okay, so just like I said in the whiteboard, A denotes a win for Alice. M denotes a win for Mary. The possible outcomes are obtained following the branches of the tree. They are, so the possible outcomes. So if you look at the table, the tree diagram, the possibilities are AA for Alice wins first game and second game, or Alice, Mary, Alice, Alice, or Alice, Mary, Alice, Mary, Alice, Alice, Mary, Alice, Mary, Mary, Alice, Mary, 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 Alice, Alice, Mary, Alice, Mary, Alice, Alice, Mary, Alice, Mary, Alice, Mary, Mary, Alice, Mary, Mary, or Mary, Mary. Those are all the possible outcomes. So I'm just going to list them here. So they are Alice, 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 Mary, Alice, 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 Mary, Mary, Alice, Mary, Alice, Mary, Alice, Alice, Mary, Alice, Mary, 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 Alice, Mary, 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 Alice, Alice, and Mary, Alice, Mary, Mary, Alice, Mary, and Mary, Alice, Mary, Alice, Alice. Okay, so those are the total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are the 10 outcomes on this tree. So let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and if you notice in these two branches, the top part is the same as the bottom part, except the layers are switched. That's for this tree diagram, right? So if you took the top part and you switched A and M, you can see that you're going to get a mirror image of the top at the bottom, but with the letters doing the opposite. So we have 5 branches at the top, and we also have 5 branches at the bottom. Okay. So if you find the 5 at the top, when you switch A and M, those are the other 5 at the bottom. All right. And so, right. And so for instance, okay, good. So those are the possible outcomes. Example 2.15. Set A consists of the elements A1, A2, A3. Set B consists of the elements B1, B2, B3, and B4. Okay. So the tree diagram on the whiteboard illustrates selecting an element from set A first and 1 from B. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this as 1, and I'm going to label this tree diagram as 2. Okay. Okay, so set A consists of the elements A1, A2, A3, and set B consists of the elements B1, B2, B3, and B4. The tree diagram I'm about to draw is going to select all the outcomes, all the ways of selecting first an element from A, set A, and then afterward an element from set B. Okay, so I labeled 1 and 2. So this is going to be, this is the first, tree picture. And now this is the second one. Okay, so this is the second one. Okay, so I'm going to draw a picture of this situation, a tree diagram of it. Okay, so we start here. And so we have 3 choices for an element from set capital A. We could either choose A1, A2, or A3, right? Right? And then after we choose one of those elements, we have 4 choices for an element from set B. Right? You could choose B1. You choose B2. You can choose B3, or you could choose B4, B1, B2, B3, or B4, B1, B2, B3, or B4, okay? So you have 4 choices afterwards for each of the A's. And so each branch of this tree implies, you know, one of the ways that this could happen. So the first branch implies that the outcome is A1, comma B1. Right? The second branch says first you chose A1 from set A, and then you chose B2 from set B. Third branch says A1 from set A, and B3 from set B. The fourth branch says A1 from set A, and then B4 from set B, and so on. And so just continue this, A2 from set 1, and then B1 from set B, A2 from set 1, and B2 from set B. Okay, it's getting boring. Okay, so then you just keep going with this. And so each branch gives you another ordered pair. The order is so that way you know that the first element is the first choice in set A, and then the second element is your choice in set B. Okay, so it's the ordered pair is important. You cannot put this as a set. You need to differentiate between your choice in set A and your choice in set B. That's a B3 there. Okay, that's B3. Yeah, that's a 3. And then the last one, oops. The last one is A3, comma, B4. Okay, so these are all 12 ordered pairs that represent all the ways to first choose an element in set A and then choose an element in set B, okay? Okay, so here's another example of a tree diagram. So it's pretty simple. And so that's explaining to you how to draw tree diagrams. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, good. Okay, so next is, if you have a question anytime, you can just say it out loud and interrupt me. So next is chapter 3, which is on conditional probability and independence. Okay, so 3.1 is on conditional probability. So this is the last chapter that's on test 1, right? Test 1 is on chapters 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is 3.1.1, definition of conditional probability. Okay, so bring this down here. Okay, so definition. So people are still joining, so I'm going to wait a little longer to announce the test date. So definition 3.1, let A and B be events with the probability of B being positive. The conditional probability of the occurrence of A given the occurrence of B is defined to be the quantity P of A given B, which is equal to the probability of A and B divided by the probability of B. Okay, so let A and B be events with P of B probably be positive, right? You need that because the denominator cannot be 0 in a fraction. The conditional probability of the occurrence of A given the occurrence of B is defined to be this quantity. Okay, and so this is read as the probability of A given B. This is the conditional probability of A given B. Okay, that's so you can say that in words that way. This is the probability, the conditional probability of A given B. And so it's equal to this because it's the probability of A and B occurring, right? Because B happens, but then you want to know that A also happens. So this probability of A and B, but then it's divided by the probability of B because B has to occur. It's given that B occurs. And so you have to divide by the probability of B. Next is 3.1.2. Use of the conditional probability.
What the fuck?
So we're going to use it. So example 3.1, a box contains 10 balls. 6 are black and 4 are white. Very simple. 4 of the black have smooth surfaces and 3 are rough. 1 white ball has a smooth surface. Wait, 4 of the black have smooth surfaces and 2 are rough. 1 white ball has a smooth surface and 3 are rough. Okay, I got it. There we go. Consider an experiment in which a ball is selected at random from the box where each ball is equally likely to be chosen. Let B, W, and R denote the events of selecting a black, white, and rough ball, respectively. Part A, find the probability of B, the probability of W, the probability of R, probability of B and R, BR, and the probability of W and R, WR. Okay, so that's part A. So I'm going to move this here. That way we start on a new page. Okay, so I'll read it again. So a box has 10 balls, 6 are black, 4 are white. 4 of the black have smooth surfaces, 2 are rough. 1 white ball has a smooth surface, 3 are rough. Okay, and so each ball is equally likely to be chosen. And these are the letters representing the events of choosing a black, white, and rough ball, respectively, B, W, and R. Okay, so what I'm going to do is on the whiteboard, I'm going to show you this situation. So let me just go back here for a second. So see the 3 on whiteboard illustrates this example. Okay, so you may want to take a picture of this or have some of this written down. I'm going to describe it to you on the whiteboard. But okay, so we're going to do 3 here. All right. So we have a box. For the box, I'm going to choose brown. So I imagine boxes is brown. Like it's made out of cardboard, I guess. Okay, so this is a cardboard box. It's drawn all right. It's not the worst box drawn. It's not the best either. Okay, so if I was on a, okay, anyway. So the box contains 10 balls. And so 6 are black and 4 are white. Okay, so 6 are black. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 black balls, and there are 4 white. I don't know if I can draw white here. No, I can't. Okay, you can't see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to represent it, the white, with light blue. Okay, so 4 of them are, so I was trying to do perspective, so I'm going to try to keep this perspective. Okay, so 4 of them are white. So this is white. Okay, and then obviously black is black. Just so that I'm transparent here. Okay, so this is representing white. This is representing black. So the 6 black and 4 white. 4 of the black have smooth surfaces. Okay, so I'm going to denote S for smooth. So 4 of them are smooth. 2 are rough. So I'm going to put an R for rough. Okay, so S is smooth. R is rough. Okay, and then for the four white balls, 1 has a smooth surface and 3 are rough. Okay, and so we want to find the probability of, first we want to find the probability of B. Probability B is a black ball, right? Okay, so maybe you want to draw this, have it drawn, you know, I'm just drawing. Okay, I'm going to go to here. So the probability of a black ball is equal to N sub B over N. The number of black balls divided by the total number of balls. There are 10 balls in total, and 6 are black. So 6 out of 10, which is equal to 0.6. That's the probability of getting a black marble. Probability of getting a white marble is N sub W. Is N sub W divided by N. Well, the number of white balls is 4 divided by the total number of balls, which is 10. So that's equal to 4/10 or 0.4. That's the probability of a white marble. The probability of a rough ball is equal to the number of rough balls divided by the total number of balls. Okay, well, the total number of balls is 10. And the number of rough balls, well, the number of rough balls, you have 2 that are black and 3 that are white. So 2 plus 3, there's a total of 5 rough balls. And so the total of 5 rough balls out of the total 10, that's equal to 0.5. And so those are the first 3. The next one is the probability of a black and rough ball. That's equal to N sub BR. That might be, you might be unsure of how to write the notation for that. The event is BR, then the subscript is BR. Just like if the event is B, the subscript is B. So whatever the event is, N sub, and then you put the name of the event there. So this event is BR. Okay, so it's N sub BR divided by N. The total N is 10. And then the balls that are black and rough, so we just look here at the black ones that are rough, there's 2 of them. Right, there's 2 of them that are, rough. Oh, so, okay, wait, so Okay, so I have to say something here. Okay, that's 0.2. So this is what we did so far, but I have to also explain something here. Here, notice that that if you take the probability of A given B, it's equal to the probability by definition of AB divided by the probability of B. Well, so this is equal to the probability of AB, which is itself a fraction, and the numerator is n sub AB divided by capital N, and the denominator is n sub B divided by N, right? So the numerator, that's the probability of AB, and the denominator, that's the probability of B. Now see how the capital N's are in the denominators of both fractions in the numerator and denominator? You can cancel them out, and you get that this is equal to N sub AB divided by N sub B. Okay, so the probability of A given B is also equal to the number of elements in the event AB divided by the number of elements in B. Okay, and so that's what I'm using. Oh wait, no, sorry. Wait, 1 minute. No, this wasn't a problem. Okay, so we're just finding the probability of events here, but I guess this is good to know. Good to know. Okay, this relationship also, which actually wasn't a problem yet, actually. So okay, we didn't find conditional probability yet. Okay, so we've done all of that. And then also we want to find the probability of WR, which is the number of white balls that are rough, which is N sub WR divided by capital N. Okay, so what are the number of balls that are white and rough? There's 2 of them. Wait, there's 3 of them. Sorry, there's a total of 3. So then this is 3 out of the total 10, which is 0.3. Okay, so that was very easy. Those are the 5 probabilities in part A. In part B is this question. If the ball selected is rough, what are the chances that it is white? Okay. So if the ball selected is rough, what are the chances that it is white? Okay, so to solve this problem, you can follow 2 steps. Okay, step 1, write the expression that represents this conditional probability. So it's the conditional probability of one event given another event, right? And so you just have to write the appropriate expression here for this situation. So step 1, write the expression that represents this conditional probability using notation. Write the expression using correct notation that represents this conditional probability. Step 2 would be calculate that conditional probability. Okay, so in a lot of these problems, if you understand the notation, then the problem becomes basically just writing down the right notation for it, the answer, and then calculating it. Okay, so here we want to find the probability of one event given the occurrence of another event. Right? We want to fill in the blanks here. We have an event. We have an event here, but we also have a given event here, right? So let's look at the right side of this vertical thing, right? The right side of the vertical line has the event that is assumed or given, that is assumed or given to occur. Think about this carefully. in this problem, this is B, which event is the given one? Is it the ball selected as rough or the ball being white, right? So there are two events here. It says if the ball selected is rough, what are the chances that it is white? So what is the given condition on the ball? What is the given about it? Before you find the odds, what is the given property of the ball, right? The right side of the vertical line has the event that is assumed or given to occur. Here, the thing that goes in that spot to the right is the event that is assumed or given to occur. The statement is, if the ball selected is rough, what are the chances that it is white? So can someone participate now and tell me which event is the event that is assumed or given to occur? Is it the property that the ball is rough, or is it the property that the ball is white?
Is it that it's rough?
I think it's both.
Anyone?
I think it's rough and it's white. It's both.
Okay, do this. Okay, so now don't say anything out loud. I want you to use your hand raise thing. So on Zoom, you have a thing that allows you to raise your hand. Okay, so I want you to do is I want you to raise your hand at the right time, depending on your answer. Okay. Okay, so everyone know how to raise their hand. Oh, there's polls here, but maybe I can do this. Never, maybe another day. Okay, so I'm not sure. I just thought of it now, and I don't. Where did the screen go? Okay, so maybe another day I'll do a poll. What's going on? Sorry. Let me get back to Word. Second. Here it is. Okay. So I want you to raise your hand if you think that the assumed or given event to occur is that the ball is rough. Okay. Raise your hand if you think that that's the right one. Okay. 3 people are raising their hands. Okay. So it's 19 students. Okay. So 3 of the 18, I should say, think that the given is that the ball is rough. Okay, so put down your hands. Okay, everyone put down their hands. Thank you. Now I want you to raise your hands if you think that the assumed or given event to occur is that the ball is white. Okay, so I should see 15 hands raised, right? Everyone has an opinion, right? So everyone has an opinion, and so 3 people thought the ball was rough as the given, then everyone else thinks the opposite. Okay, so there's only 3 more people that are brave. Okay, so now it's tied. There's 3 that also think it's white, and then the other 6. Now it's only 2. Okay, so now okay, okay, put down your hands. Okay, so the correct answer is rough. Is this? The ball selected is rough. That's the event that's given. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm underlining the 2 ideas that match, right? So the right side of the vertical line is, using this notation, is the event that is assumed or given to occur. The event that is assumed or given to occur is that the ball selected is rough. And that's because of this very important and powerful word. And that word is if. If. The fact that it says if and then the event, that's telling, the word if is telling you that this is assumed to happen, right? So saying this sentence, if it rains today, then I will get wet when I go outside, right? If it rains today, then I will get wet, right? So the assumption is that it's going to rain. right? If it is going to rain, then I'm going to get wet, right? So assuming that it rains, then I will get wet, right? So if the bowl selected is rough, what are the chances that it is white? So the assumption is that the bowl is rough. That's the given information. So the word if, just that 1 2-letter word if, is telling you that the entire statement after it, the bowl selected is rough, that's an event that's assumed to happen. Okay? So on the right side, using our conditional probability notation, the right side of the vertical sign, you put the event, the notation for the event that is assumed or given to occur. On the left side, students get confused about this. The left side of the vertical line has the event that we want to find the probability of. With the assumption given, right? So we are assuming that the bowl is rough, but we want to find the odds that it is white, right? So what are the chances that it is white, right? What are the chances that it is white? And so that's telling you the event we want to find the probability of, right? The event we want to find the probability of is here because it says, what are the chances that is white? Chances meaning probability. What are the chances that it is white? So W, you put on the left side because that's the event you want to find the probability of with that assumption. Okay, the event we want to find the probability of. What are the chances that the bowl is wet? So W is the probability we want to find. So this is step 1. So what I just did here was step 1, and I just elaborate on it by writing all this other stuff. So step 1 was just writing this, okay? Step 1, just write the notation for the correct conditional probability, right? That. Step 2, so I'm going to just write this. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. So, so step 1 is that. And step 2 is calculate the conditional probability. So now we're just going to calculate the probability of W given R. And so by the definition of conditional probability that I wrote here, the probability of this event given this one is the probability that they both occur divided by the probability of the given event occurring. Okay? And so this is equal to the fraction where the numerator is the probability that both occur, and the denominator is the probability of only of red occurring. Okay, so I gave you the alternate thing here. So we don't really need that because of part A. So in part A, we calculated all these probabilities. So the probability of WR is 0.3. So 0.3 is going in the numerator. And the W of R is equal to 0.5, which is that, right? If we didn't calculate all these probabilities ahead of time, then you could instead say the number of simple events in A, simple outcomes in AB divided by the number of simple outcomes in B. And then that would give you the same answer. So 0.3 over 0.5 is 3/5, right? And so that's equal to 0.6 because that's 6/10. Okay, so I just added this. I didn't have to write this, but I just did so that you could see my calculation there. Okay, and to sum this up, so summary is if the event B occurs, then the probability A occurs is the probability of A given B, the conditional probability of A given B. So if the event B occurs, then the probability A occurs is the conditional probability of A given B. Right? That B is the assumed event to occur. Okay, any questions? No? Good. Okay, so example 3.4. Suppose that 5 cards are to be drawn at random from a standard 52 card deck. If all the cards drawn are red, what is the probability that all of them are hearts? Okay, so suppose that 5 cards will be drawn at random from a standard 52 card deck. If all the cards drawn are red, what's the probability that all of them are hearts? Solution. Okay, first recognize that this is a conditional probability question / problem. Okay. It says if all the cards drawn are red, what is the probability that all of them are hearts? So after the word if is this statement. And so this is the assumed statement after if. Keep in mind that in English, you can rearrange the order of a sentence and it means the same thing, right? Like for instance, I could have, instead of writing the sentence, if all the cards drawn are red, what is the probability that all of them are hearts? I could have instead written the sentence, what is the probability that all of the cards are hearts if all the cards drawn are red, right? So I could rearrange the order of the sentence, but that does not change the meaning of the sentence, right? Rearranging the order of the statements in the sentence, the substatements in the sentence, does not change its meaning. And so the probability is the same. So it's just what's after if. It's not that it's at the beginning of the sentence, okay? So it's not about the location of the statement in the sentence, right? The given statement could be at the beginning of the sentence or it could be at the end. It's about what's happening. It's about what's happening in the sentence, right? But most importantly, the easiest way to tell is when the sentence has the word if or when in it, then the statement immediately after it will should be the assumed statement. Okay, but the word if could appear at the end of the sentence or the beginning. So again, it's not about where in the sentence. It's not about beginning, middle, or end of the sentence. It's about the words around it. So if, after if. Okay, so this is the given statement. Okay, so let's introduce appropriate notation. Okay, so so all the cards drawn are red. So let R equal the event of all the cards drawn are red. And I'm going to let H equal the event of all cards drawn are hearts. Okay, so the problem, so step one, because this is a conditional probability problem, step one is I'm going to write the notation for the appropriate probability. So we want to find the probability that all the cards are hearts, given that all the cards drawn are red. So we want to find the probability of H given R. Okay, so step one is just recognizing that, right? So we are asked to find the probability of H given R. R is the assumed event that all the cards drawn are red. And the probability we want to find is the probability that all of them are hearts. And so H goes here. Assumed or given is R. And then the odd thing we want to find the probability of with that assumption is that event is H. Okay, using our notation here. So step two is calculate. Now we calculate the probability of H given R. Okay, so the probability of H given R. So by the definition of conditional probability, this is equal to the probability of HR divided by the probability of R. Okay, so we just need to find the probability of both HR and R. Okay, so side work. Let's find probability of HR and the probability of R and plug them in to find the answer to the problem. Okay, so let's do probability of R first. Probability of R is the probability of all the cards drawn are red. So we want to choose 5 cards from a standard 52 card deck, right? So we want the probability of R. We want to find the probability. Find the probability of R, right? That all the cards drawn are red. No. So find the probability of. I'm going to do this. Find the probability of R, which is the probability, all 5 cards drawn are red, right? So 5 over 26. So we want to find the probability all 5 cards drawn are red. So if you look at the entire deck of cards, okay. So if you look at the entire space of the 52 card deck, right? These are the 52 card deck. So this is the space of 52 cards in the 52 card deck, right? And we have 2 subgroups here. We have the 26 red and we have the 26 black, right? So the deck is split evenly between black and red cards. Now to find the probability of R, the probability that all 5 cards drawn are red, well, then that's equal to, right? So that's equal to the number of 5, that's equal to the number of hands of 5 cards that are red. Well, so if you have 26 red cards, to get a 5 card hand that all red, you have to choose 5 of the 36. So 26C5 is the number of 5 card hands that are all red. And then that's divided by the total number of 5 card hands, which is out of the total 52 card deck. So 52C5 is the number of ways of having 5 card hands. So the probability of a 5 card hand of all reds is 26C5 divided by 52C5. Okay, so let me write that down on the whiteboard. So the probability of red is equal to N sub R divided by capital N, right? N sub R is the number of 5 card hands that are all red, right? That's what I defined R to be. All 5 cards drawn in the 5 card hand are red. And H is all 5 cards drawn in the 5 card hand are hearts. Right, 5 cards are drawn at random. Okay, good. Are drawn at random. Okay, good. So N sub R, right, is the number of ways that the entire hand is red. Just Okay, so then that's 26C5, the number of ways of choosing 5 out of 26 cards of the red, divided by all the 5 card hands, which is 52C5, the number of ways to choose 5 out of total 52. Okay, so that's the probability of that. And so the probability of HR is the probability of all 5 cards drawn or red and all 5 cards drawn or hearts. This is the N sub HR divided by capital N. Okay. Now, again, the total number of 5 card hands is 52C5. And in the numerator, we want the number of 5 card hands that are all red and all hearts. But every hearts is red. So really, N sub HR, the number of red hearts, is if they're just all, I mean, the number of 5 card hands where they're all red and all hearts is really they're all hearts, right? So we want to know, what about if they're all hearts? Okay. Now, of the 26 red, we have 2 subsections here, right? 13 of them are hearts, and 13 of them are diamond. You see the yellow there? And 13 of them are diamond. So 13 of them are hearts. So this is what we care about. There's 13 total cards in the deck that are hearts. So what we want is that of the 13 cards that are hearts, the number of 5 card hands that are all hearts is 13C5. We just want all the ways to choose 5 out of the 13 that are hearts. Okay, and so you divide this by that and you get that answer. So what I want to do is just divide them, these quantities here. So this goes in this denominator and this goes in this numerator. And so when you do that, you can see that just like I was alluding to earlier, you have the ends, the number that's left. So that you have this divided by this, because the 52C5s cancel. And so you're left with this over this, and then that's equal to 0.0196. And that's the answer. All right. Okay, so hopefully that made some sense. Anyone have any questions about it? Okay, so 3.2 is on Bayes and other theorems on conditional probabilities.
Professor?
Okay, let me see how many students here. Okay, so we have 18. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to announce the exam now. Test 1 is on July 29th during class and starts at the beginning of class. Okay, be on time. Okay, the test is on Zoom and you use the same Zoom link to attend the class for the exam as you would any other class day. So the Zoom link you use to get here, that's the same link, Zoom link you'll use on July 29th to attend during class and at the start of class for the test. So classes from 10 a.m. to 11:34 a.m. That's the test. It's during class that day. So be on time, 10 a.m. on July 29th. Okay, test 1 is on July 29th. Test 1 is on chapters 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we will have all this covered before the exam, and there should even be extra time. And so you'll have a little bit extra time after we finish covering that material to study it before the exam. Okay, now also keep in mind, okay, so what I'm going to do is if you go on Blackboard, right, so I'll go over stuff with you the class before, okay? So we'll be going over homework throughout, but the day before we'll have review, okay? So yeah, so the test is 5 questions. I'm not done yet talking about the test, okay? So test 1 is on chapters 1, 2, and 3. There are 5 questions, and each are worth 20 points. Okay.
Question.
Right. So the test is 30% of your grade. That's in the syllabus, right, as stated in the syllabus. Right. And the syllabus tells you all the chapters that are on the exam also. Right. So if you look at the syllabus, so you don't have to remember, though everything's online. Everything's online. Right. So if you don't remember something I've said, you can go online and onto Blackboard, and it's there. Okay. Now, if you go to right, so the syllabus for this course, which I'm going to put on the screen for you here. So you should have the syllabus on the screen now. So yeah, I mean, you know, if you show work and you get things right, if you get the problem wrong but you have correct work, you get partial credit. Okay, so okay, remember on the syllabus, okay, so remember, this is the email you contact me if you have questions. And here under the topics, right, chapter 1 is for test 1, chapter 2, test 1, chapter 3, test 1. So the first 3 chapters are test 1, okay? So the material we cover in class for chapters 1, 2, and 3 are on test 1. If we don't go over something in class, the material for it, the material is on the exam, right? But the questions on the exam could be different. They're different questions. Okay, so I'm going over. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so you have those 3 chapters. Okay, right in here it says 2 test grades, 30% each, and so this test is 30% of your grade. Okay, and you're receiving the review sheet is online. Okay, so it's right online on Blackboard, and you can go on now. It's been there since the start of the semester. Okay, I had Blackboard already. Here we go. Okay, you should see Blackboard on your screen now. So if you go to tests here, right, first you go to this class, right? Summer 2021, Introduction to Math, Probability, Mathematical Statistics, Math 241. You go here to tests. And then when you click the test folder, these are the rules and what to do to take online exams. So a lot of your questions, if you still have them, or if you don't remember what I say, you can read these 2 files and they answer your questions. A lot of questions you have, maybe all of them. So this is test 1 right here, this folder. So click on that. And you have practice questions for test 1, and you have the answers to the practice questions for test 1. Don't look at the answers until you do the practice questions, right? And you may need to still learn more material because we're not yet done with all 3 chapters, right? So you may want to wait before you take do these practice questions until we've covered all the material. And so after you take the practice questions, once you feel comfortable with the material, then do the practice questions. And then after you do the practice questions, look at the answer, see if you got it right, right? Don't look at the answers right away, because then you're ruining the point of it to gauge whether or not you understand it. If you're still learning the material, right, you have the homework, right? So the homework that I'm assigning is covering material for the exam. So you should be doing the homework problems first. And then afterwards, you should use the practice exam in the test 1 folder to gauge whether or not you're ready for the exam, okay? When I go over homework during class, and you can ask questions about the homework, and during the review the day before the exam, I can answer your questions about the practice questions. Okay, so those are when I suggest asking questions about it. Okay, and remember, a lot of your questions are already in the syllabus. It's 30% of your final grade. Covers chapters 1, 2, and 3. Right, those things are mentioned in the syllabus. Okay, and some questions you might have are also answered in these 2 files. So read both of them, and that might answer your questions also. Okay. We'll go back to the whiteboard, but the right whiteboard file, this one, there we go. Okay, so so there's that. Right, the way you take an exam is that it's on Zoom, so make sure you have Zoom downloaded on the device that you're using to take the exam. If you're taking the exam on a laptop, have Zoom downloaded on the laptop. If you're using, that's what I recommend you use on a computer. So make sure Zoom is on that device, right? You should have a calculator with you during the exam. You don't necessarily need it. You might need it. You probably need it for combinations, I guess. You can technically do it. Maybe calculator is probably good to have. So use the calculator during the exam. At best, a TI-84 Plus if you have a calculator in the TI series. If you don't know whether or not your calculator is too advanced, you can ask me in an email. You can take a picture of the calculator and show me it, and then ask me whether or not the calculator is good, right? If you're a student with special needs, if you need extra time because you have a disability or something like that, there's the Office of Student Services. You should contact them and then ask them for extra time for the exam. I'm not the person to talk to about that. You have to talk to them. Then I receive you or them, they give you instructions, and then you send, I get paperwork saying that you need extra time. But you need to give me at least a week for the form. I think it's a week. They tell you should do it like today if you need help with that, right? If you get the form the day before the exam or right before or 2 days before, right? Not a week before. If you give me the paper with less than a week's time, then I guess it's going to make things complicated because you need to tell me in advance, right? So I'm allowed a week advance notice if you need extra time for the exam, okay? So get on that immediately if you need extra time for student services. I don't just hand out extra time to anyone. It's unfair to the students who don't get extra time, right? So you need to talk to the Office of Student Services to receive that extra time. If you need it, you can get it, but I don't just hand it out. You have to go through that office to get that time, okay? Right, so during the exam, you have 10 pieces of paper, and so you're not allowed any reading material or anything to help you in the exam. All you can have really in front of you is blank pieces of paper, your calculator, pen, pencils, erasers if you need them. I recommend you have a watch so you can keep track of time, or have a clock in your house. You're in your house, so you can have a clock on the wall. Have something in front of you that tells you the time. Make note of the time I start the exam. It's an hour-long exam, and so you know when it ends, right? If you want to know how much time is left, I'll tell you during the exam in the chat, because you chat with me during the exam. Don't say anything out loud. No talking during the exam. But if you keep track of time, you won't have to ask me to know how much time is left. You'll know. Okay, so make sure that you have a clock somewhere right in front of you. So during the exam, you need to make sure you have a working camera, that your Zoom works and your audio works, right? Your audio and video have to work. The audio, just in case I need to communicate with you verbally, you have to be able to do so. And your video has to be on the entire exam. Okay, your video is on for the entire exam. You're going to be muted for the entire exam. During the exam, you're muted. Before the exam, the audio can be on if you have a question to ask me about the exam before it starts, okay? Only audio before it starts. Once the exam starts, the audio turns off. I don't really want any questions at all during the exam. When I first post the exam on the screen, I tell you not to start yet. I tell you to look at the exam, read it, and then ask me questions out loud before it starts. It's on the screen for just a short time before. And I ask, do you have any questions? So it's then when you need to ask me a question about, I can't read something, I don't get something, but I won't answer all questions. It's just if it's an appropriate question, right? I'm not answering questions about whether or not what the answer is, or, maybe not even what did I mean when I wrote this, right? Part of the test is understanding the question I'm asking, right? So So I don't have to tell you what something means if I've written it correctly, right? Sometimes students say, no, you didn't write that correctly. And I know I did. So if I wrote something correctly, I wrote it correctly. And if you think it's written wrong, it might just mean that you don't understand it. You have to think about it. That's the test, right? So, okay, so you can ask your questions out loud before it starts. Once the exam starts, I don't want any questions. If you need to go to the bathroom, if you need to get more piece of paper, if you need to get another pen or pencil, if you need to sharpen your erase, you need an eraser, you need to sharpen your pencil, you can text in the chat, you know, I need to do one of those things. May I go? Something like that. I'll say yes when I give you permission in the chat. Then you say the time you leave. So I am leaving at this time to do this. Then when you come back, say I have returned and this is the time, something like that, right? So let me know the time you leave and come back, okay? No questions about the exam note and problems during the exam, okay? Don't write in the chat other things. Just ask me permission to do one of those things. Tell me the time you're leaving and the time you come back, okay? Don't apologize if you do something wrong with the rules. If you get something wrong, don't say, I'm sorry for doing this, right? Don't even apologize. Just say, this is the time I'm leaving, this is the time I'm returning. I want to write as little as possible in the chat. Once you try to start a conversation in the chat, it becomes littered with these messages, no offense, but then if somebody else has something urgent they need to say, then it can become lost in this in these long streams of messages, and then it gets complicated, right? But if you're taking the exam correctly, if you're following the rules of the exam correctly, then the entire exam can be done in silence with nobody even writing anything, right? So I'm telling you everything in advance. There should be nothing you have to say during the exam, right? You should have at least 10 pieces of paper with you, which means you don't need extra paper. You can have plenty of pens and pencils in front of you. You shouldn't need to get another pen or pencil. You can have erasers next to you. You can have a sharpener next to you. You should have a clock in front of you. So these are all things you can have before the start of the exam, right in front of you for the entire time. So you don't have to ask me those questions, really. You may need to go to the bathroom. You're also in your house, so you can go to the bathroom before it starts, right? Right before the test starts, you can go to the bathroom. So you may not even need to ask me to go to the bathroom. So most things you probably don't really need to ask me during the exam. So, you know, technically the entire exam can be done without any questions at all, okay? So I do a good job making the exam so it's right. I think it'll be right. I don't think you'll have to say anything about it. If you think there's something wrong with the exam, you can ask me a question before it starts out loud, right? I post on the screen. I say, does anyone have any questions? If there's something like that, you can say it at that time. Now, I might disagree with you, and I'll be right. Now I'm going to say there's nothing wrong with the exam. It's fine. Then you just go and take the exam, right? But, you know, you do have an opportunity to say something if you feel you need to before it starts. Once it starts, I really want silence. I don't want anyone being interrupted during the exam. Okay, so I went over all these instructions. It takes a while to say. When you're here on the day of the exam, I'm going to go through all this again. Okay, and so I realize people are going to ask me questions about the things I just said. I don't want to keep repeating this over and over again. So try to remember the things I've said. But it's also in those files, right? Those 2 files on Blackboard. If you go to tests, right? If you click the test link here, it brings you here. And then when you go here, there's 2 files here, right? And so you read them. So this says like a lot of things I just said, right? In very specific detail. So these are 2 documents. So if you have a question about the exam, please read these 2 first. Okay, and so that will help me a lot if you do that, okay? And the syllabus, right? So between these 2 files and the syllabus, I go over a lot in both, okay? And the practice questions here. So everything should be available. I like answering questions. I just don't want to answer the same question over and over again. Okay, so but I think I've gone through all that information for you, okay? Again, I'm going to go over a lot of this stuff. Everything I think you need to know before the exam starts, right? But I've said everything you need to know now. Okay, so that's what you need to know about test 1. And again, test 1 is on July 29th. At the start, it starts at the start of class and it's during class. Okay, it will not extend past the class time. So our class is 1 hour and 34 minutes long, and it's an hour exam. When the test is over, you're going to email me your answers, right? So you're gonna have 10 sheets of paper in front of you. I want a separate answer on each sheet of paper, right? So there's 5 problems. So you need at least 5, right? Because I want a different answer on each page. So I want number 1 on one page, number 2 in another. You don't have to do the problems in order, right? If you want to do number 3 first, you could do number 3, then 2, but they're all on separate sheets of paper. So at the end of the exam, what I want you to do is that no matter what order you did the problems in separate sheets of paper, I want you to arrange the 5 answer sheets in the appropriate order. So first page, first problem, second page, second problem, third page, third problem, fourth page, fourth problem, fifth page, fifth problem, right? If you had scrap work, if you did a problem, but then decided, you know what, let me do it again, and you rewrite another page, you don't have to send me the page that was scrap work, right? But if you have something you want graded, anything you want graded needs to be handed in, right? But just make sure it's put in order, please. And then in the email you send me, I'm going to ask you to put the subject in a specific way. So I'll say, you know, I want the subject to be just about pretty much first name, last name, Math 241, test summer 2021, test 1, email blank out of blank. Okay, the blank out of blank meaning that if you send your exam in 3 emails, tell me, you know, that tells me which email it is, the order, and how many in total I'm expecting from you. So if you're sending 3, then it would be 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3, right? That way I know the order to read it. And I also know I received your entire exam, right? So if you're not telling me how many emails you're sending, if you send me 2 and I get 1 and I think that's your entire exam, right? Then I don't know you've sent the second one, right? If you say 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2, then I know, well, if you write 1 out of 2 and then you send 2 out of 2 and I don't see 2 out of 2, I'll say something like, where's 2 out of 2, right? So it's important to communicate with me in total how many you're sending. If you're only sending 1, I still want you to write email 1 out of 1. That way you've sent me 1, I got 1, and then I know that's the only one you sent. Okay, makes sense? So the email blank out of blank at the end is communicating with me so that I know the order to read your emails and that I've read all of them. Okay, after the exam is over, you're going to have about 40, about 50, 40. Wait, I got to look at, okay. You'll have about, it's on the rules for the exam. You'll have about 45 minutes. So you'll have about 45 minutes. I guess since I opened this file, I'm going to show it on the screen. So these are the rules for the exam, right? It's on that file I sent you. Okay, you can read it. So there's 12 here. And here it says, I will open another Zoom meeting about 45 minutes after the exam is over on test days. And at that time, you can ask me questions, okay? So, right, students want to make sure I got their exam, right? That's not a problem, right? If you're following my instructions, there's no problem here. So I want you to send the email, right? Only send 1 copy of the email of your exam, okay? When you send the email, don't send the same thing again. Don't send your test in multiple emails. That's only making things harder for me, and it's not helping your grade either, because then I have to keep track. Which one do I want graded? Do I know that they're both the same exam, right? Right. Right. And I don't want to grade the same exam twice, right? So if I'm receiving 30 exams, right, and then 10 of them are sent 3 times, right? This is only making things more complicated, right? So only send the exam once, please. It's helping me and it's helping you. It's helping everyone. Send the exam once. What I do then is I have another meeting about 45 minutes after the exam is over. You have that much time to send the exam. After that time is up, we have this meeting. I open it up on Zoom. I send you the Zoom invite through Blackboard. So you check the email account that through Zoom, through Blackboard, the same one you got this link, you know, the same one on the first day of class, you know, that you first started, that email account. And so now I'll send you through Blackboard, that email account associated with Blackboard. I'll send you the Zoom link to the meeting where we talk about the exam about 45 minutes after the exam is over. When the exam is over, I'll say at this time, the meeting is going to start. At this time, the exam is due by email, right? So I'll tell you the exact time that your test answers are due by email, and I'll tell you the exact time that this Zoom meeting will start, and I'll send you the link through Blackboard for it after the exam is over, okay? And then in that meeting, you can say, okay, did you receive my exam by email? and then I will open my emails and I'll tell you whether or not I received your entire exam, right? And so I'll tell you, okay, I got all your questions. I'll say I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you send 2 emails, I'll say I got email 1 out of 2, I got email 2, I got everything. If I didn't get something, I'll just say, you know, I don't see it, or I didn't get it, and then you can send it again at that point, okay? So you don't have to send the email more than once, because even if it doesn't send, if you come to this meeting, I'll tell you that I'm missing the email and you can resend it. So it's not late if you come to that meeting about 45 minutes after the exam and tell me and ask me if I got it and I see that I didn't. Then I'll just say send it again, right? But if you send the email for your exam answers, I don't get it, and then you don't come to that meeting and you don't say anything, right? And nothing happens, and let's say it's the next day, right? And then I don't have your exam, right? There's a problem, right? So you need to be sure that you come to the meeting and ask me whether or not I received your exam. I'll tell you, okay? Don't ask me questions in the email about your test. That it doesn't help me to do that. It's better if you ask me the questions in the meeting, right? If I'm receiving 30 emails at once and 30 students have questions about their exam in those 30 emails, right? You're not going to get the answer quickly, and I can't grade your exams if I'm answering 30 questions after the exam's over, right? So just come to the meeting, say it out loud. I'll answer your questions out loud. It's fast, it's easy. You'll get the answers right away that you want answers to, because you'll just say it and I'll tell you the answer right away. If you're asking the question in email, you're going to delay the answer, and it's going to make things complicated, right? Don't ask in the email, did you receive my exam or not, right? Say it in the meeting. Did you get my exam? I'll tell you right away. I got it, right? I'm looking at it, I got it, right? And then I can grade your exams faster. I grade exams fast. And so if you help me out here, I can grade it even faster, okay? Okay, and so there's all of that. I don't want to repeat all this again. Okay, so then we have all of that. Right, okay, so you're gonna send the exam by email. That way, you know, and the subject, and you send the email, and then there you go, okay? Did I cover everything? And so, okay, so then you send the email. Yeah, I think I covered everything. But again, there's these 2 files here, and I might say just, oh, there is one more thing. When you send the exam, right, you're probably wondering, how do I send it, right? You're sending it by email, but how do you send the exam? Everyone has a phone, right? But don't take pictures of it with your phone. You can, I'll accept it. But the problem is that a picture on your phone takes up a lot of space. So if you have 5 questions to answer, I would want them on separate sheets. And so sometimes students put the answers on 5 separate sheets of paper, and then when they take the pictures, they put multiple pages in one picture, right? That defeats the purpose of different pages, right? For me, it's about me seeing the problems on different sheets of paper, right? Make sure each problem is on a separate sheet of paper, and when you take pictures, the picture is of each separate page, right? It just makes things easier. Also, when you take a picture with your camera, that takes a lot of space, right? So if you're just using the camera on your phone to take pictures and send it, that takes up a lot of space. I'll do that when I'm sending your exams back, because I'm only sending 1 picture and I have to send 30 in a row, and I'll do it fast that way. But when you're sending multiple pages, 5 pages, a picture is too much space to send 5 pictures, right? 1, it works. I'm only sending you 1 picture of your grade, the answers. I send you a whole sheet, but I do it in 1 page, okay? So you need to send at least 5 pages. So for you to send it to me, I'll accept it. You have to do email 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, or 6 or whatever. But don't do that. Don't send me 5, 6 emails, please. So don't use the picture option. Instead, there's an app. One of the ways is there's an app called Genius Scan, and you can download it on your phone. It's an app, right? If you have an iPhone, you can download an iPhone. You might be able to download other kinds of phones like Androids. I don't know, because I don't have an Android, but a lot of students use it. So I guess, you know, it works for a lot of people. You can download Genius Scan app you might be able to download Genius Scan app on your phone. If you can, and then use it. And then you click the take picture button, and you keep taking pictures, and then you take a picture of all 5 pages. Then you finish the document, and you put a name to it, it then saves your entire thing as one PDF file. So you'll have all the pictures as one PDF file. You can send it to me via email, even through the app. You can save it on your phone. Somebody just came now, or maybe they're coming back. Their internet wasn't working. Okay, it'll save as a PDF. You can save it on your phone. You can email it to me. And so please do it that way, because then it's a PDF. It compresses the file. And so then you can send all the pictures as one file. Okay, before the day of the exam, maybe even before the day before, right? Maybe a few days before, but before the exam, and not the day of before, like before, right? Days before. Make sure that your Zoom works. You have Zoom downloaded on the device you're using for the exam. Make sure Zoom works. Make sure the audio works. Make sure the video works. A lot of times students say, you know, my audio is not working or my video is not working. Test this before the exam, right? Test to make sure your video is working. Test to make sure your audio is working. If it's not working, use a different device. Maybe you can borrow a friend or a family or relative's computer during the exam where the audio and video does work, right? Just for the exam. But make sure your audio and video work during the exam. Zoom works. Practice sending a file the way you're going to send the exam, right? So practice taking a picture of 5-6 pages using Genius Scan, saving it as one PDF file, making the name of the file what you want it to be, and emailing it. Now, don't email to me, maybe because you're, right? Email to yourself, but then, right, have the name, have the PDF file, you send the email, practice that before, right? That way, when the exam is over and you want to send it, you've already gotten this figured out. You've already used, you know, Genius Scan or whatever you're going to use. You figured it out and it can be done quick. I've used Genius Scan so many times that I could do it pretty fast, right? And so you could practice it before the day of the exam. Make sure you have it all figured out, right? You have 45 minutes, so that should be plenty of time to send it, especially considering you can practice ahead of time. So with practice ahead of time, and maybe even without, 45 minutes should be enough. But if you don't practice it ahead of time and there's a problem, then, you know, how long will it take? I don't know. But I want you to think about these things ahead of time. That way, all the problems can be addressed. If you have a question or a problem that comes up about sending an exam or something else about the exam, because you tried to plan ahead of time, you can email me and I can answer your questions. I have to quickly plug this in. My computer. Okay. Right. You can ask me questions ahead of time before the exam. Right. So if for instance, you know, you're not sure how to send the exam, if you can't download Genius Scan, if you don't know how it works, if you need, right, you can email me. If you want to ask me, can I send it this way? You can send me an email and ask me that, right? But don't send me an email an hour before the exam asking me something, or even 30 minutes. I might see the email. But this really isn't much. There's not much time, right? So don't wait till the last minute to ask questions about the exam. Make sure there's plenty of time. That way you're giving me the best. You're helping me help you, right? Don't wait till the last minute, especially if you need help with student services, okay? So if you need extra time, I want to give it to you, but I want it to do it. It needs to be done the right way, okay? So it's fair to everyone and that you get that extra time, okay? So I covered all of that. Okay. The email, my email account, right? Michael Pendazis, summer2021@gmail.com. That's my email. That's for everything. You send the exam to that email. You ask me questions with that email. Everything's done with that email account. And make sure you don't make this mistake. There are 2 S's back to back there, right? Pendazis, my last name ends with an S and the word summer starts with an S. Both S's are in the name. It's Michael Pendazis, summer2021@gmail.com. So make sure you send the email correctly, right? Also, when you send the exam, send it to me and that email address, the whole thing, right? Send it to that email address and then CC it. Emails have what's called CC or BCC, right? In that, send it to yourself. Write your email there also in CC or BCC. Send it to yourself also. That way, when you receive it also, it's a test to make sure that the email was sent out, okay? So that's another way to check to make sure that the email was sent. In the CC or BCC option, email to yourself. When you send it, put me in the send, but put yourself, one of your own emails, in CC or BCC as a check, okay? And again, the meeting afterwards, about 45 minutes afterwards, I will go over and make sure, I will check and make sure I received your exam. Okay. This Zoom meeting is being recorded. So if you want to see these instructions again, you can look at this Zoom recording and you can re-listen to everything I've just said, right? So you can see it. I spent like 30 minutes explaining the rules of the exam, right? So we don't have time. I don't do this 5-6 times, right? So, okay, so you have this entire Zoom recording where I'm saying all the instructions. You have the syllabus. You have the test link where it has the 2 Word files. You have the review questions for the exam. You have the answers to the review questions for the exam. You have the homework assignments. Okay, so you have all of that. So I think all of that is enough. Okay, you'll have the review class. You'll have review the day before the exam. So you can ask me questions about that. We go over the homework at the start of class. You can ask me questions about the homework then. And I think all of that is good. Okay. Any questions about the exam now after I've said all of that?
Well, I have a question.
Okay, good. So I waited to see if I gave you time. Okay, so I don't think anyone has questions. That's good. So I really said a lot. So I think that's good. Okay, so I spent a lot of time going the instructions. So we're at 3.2 now. So let's stop here for the day. Remember, the homework is due. So this will be for next class on Monday. Okay, so we meet Mondays to Thursdays. So our next class is then on Monday. So you know, this is good. So all of this is at the end, right? So, you know, I'm not going to bold it because then it makes it hard to read. So, okay, so I almost want to delete that, but okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these vertical lines here. Okay, and so this is denoting that this is it's itself an important but separate a thing that I said. Right? And between these 2 lines, very important. Whenever I do this, it's something I'm emphasizing, a section. So I'm emphasizing this, this. Okay. Okay, so Kishan, just turn on your audio and ask. Okay.
So I got extra time. So they give me like
If you have a question, Kishan, maybe he doesn't. Okay. Oh, anytime, Kishan, you can just talk. Okay, so okay, so that's test 1. Again, and homework is due the next homework is due. Homework 2, right? Homework 2 is due on Monday. So we're going to go over it on Monday at the start of class. Okay, on Monday. Okay. I can't? Someone say something?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Okay, so I don't, that was weird. Okay, so I had the sound on.
So Kishan had a question. He has extra time. I just wanted to tell you.
Okay, I can hear now. So Kishan, can you talk out loud? Thank you.
Yeah. So I have extra time on, like, so they gave me like accommodation card. So I can send it today to email.
Okay, you have the sheet or whatever?
No, they gave me like a accommodation card. That's what they, for exams.
Okay, send me that. Send me what you have, and then we'll go forward from there. You know the email. Send me an email about it. We'll continue that conversation by email. It's private. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So now the audio's fixed. Or I heard you earlier, people earlier. So I don't think it was gone that long. Anyone have questions now for the exam or that I didn't hear? about anything? Any about anything? Anyone need to ask questions about anything or say anything? The audio works. Maybe, but okay. All right, so at the start of next class, the homework is due. Okay. Now, okay, so homework 3 ends at 3.2. So we're not yet done. Okay, so that's good. So, okay, so the homework 2 is due on Monday. That's perfect. So, all right, so we'll stop there. And so I'll see all of you next Monday. Okay, thank you for attending class and you good luck studying. Have a nice weekend. See you Monday. Bye, everyone. And I'm going to save the whiteboard. Bye. Bye. Good seeing all of you.